And welcome back to another edition of the Change My Mind podcast.
I won't change my mind because I don't have to, because I'm an American.
Yes, you are, and I am Wesley Sykes. And through the other side of the ether is the Luigi lover boy to my Mario. It's Nicholas J. Eskfryer, plumber for hire.
This is, you know what, Wes? When we said we were going to do this idea, we had expectations of being able to rip something again. We haven't done it together, I feel like, in a little bit. Oh my, this could get bad. This was bad.
This was bad, and if you haven't already guessed or figured it out yet, we'll be stepping back into the rewatch vault, I guess you could say, to discuss the 1993 cinematic masterpiece, Super Mario Brothers, starring Bob Hoskins, and John Leguizamo, which is available for your viewing pleasure in 5-minute clips on YouTube. So got some nice Mario sounders there to play with, but before we get to, all that fun stuff, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe on YouTube, CMM Podcast, and follow us on Twitter at CMM_podcast. And you can find all of our archived versions of the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere you like to listen to your audio entertainment. But before all that, Nick, when was the last time you bought socks?
You know what? If you had asked me, I think it was within the last 2 months for sure. But if you had asked me before then, I couldn't tell you, Wes. It had been forever until very recently.
Now, at what point do you realize, hey, it's time to buy new socks? Like, how much will you wear your sock drawer out?
When my fiance says, "Nick, you need to buy new socks." That's when I know. No, yeah, there have been times in the past where it's like, okay, I got a couple holes. I feel like I'm doing laundry too quickly because I'm running out of socks. That's kind of the measuring stick, I guess.
When the big toe starts to stick out, that's how I know it's time. And I'll wear those even a couple more and try to tuck it under my toe, underneath the knuckle, and then hope that kind of works. But
so is that what happens to you? Is that where you get the hole? Is the big toe?
Is the big toe? Yeah.
Because I get it, and maybe this is something about how we walk, you and I. I get it. I feel like more towards sometimes on my heel, sometimes around the ball of my foot. I'm curious.
Also around the ball of my foot. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I'm curious where people generally get holes in their socks. So we're gonna put up a poll and ask everybody.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. But I also recently just bought a pair of socks, maybe a week ago or so, and I have a fresh pair on right now. And there's really nothing nicer. That's one of the few, underrated pleasures of adulthood. It's like a nice pair of socks.
When you meet my brother, bring this subject up with him if you can remember, that far along. He's very passionate about new socks.
Well, I would imagine, athletes and maybe baseball players specifically take socks for granted. I'm sure you just get them all the time, and us plebs in the civilian world, you might get them for your Christmas from your parents and your stocking, some socks and underwear. That's kind of like the baseline Christmas gifts for some people, But I feel like for athletes, you can just kind of raid the equipment room anytime you want.
He definitely didn't have that. I probably had that to a lesser extent. But yeah, you talk about some other teams though. We get stuff, but the money making teams that really get all the free shit. It's ridiculous. Anyways.
So you guys had to wash your own socks at Northwestern. Is that what you were saying? A nice prestigious school like that, Power 5 conference?
We did not have to. We all our athletic gear did get washed. Yes. But in terms of constantly getting new socks and stuff, that did not happen. I would do it, but they was always eventually it's all right, take it easy on asking for so much shit.
Okay. I thought you might be able to that's one of the people you want to get in with, is the equipment manager.
Sure,
then you get hooked up for Christmas gifts. You 100%. Come home and you get the sweatshirt and all that swag.
I definitely did do that to some extent. I even also walked away with receiver gloves at one point too.
I like that. Okay.
Which was cool. But yeah, but no, we didn't get, it's just, there eventually was a line that would get drawn in the sand. It'd be random though. And then if you wait a little bit, then you could get some more stuff. But yeah, we didn't have we'd have to be sneaky about it, I guess is the way to put it.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Now with these NIL deals, I'm sure people are just throwing out socks. You just get an Instagram sponsorship and they're throwing out socks left and right.
Can only imagine what that would have been like playing with that. Like I don't know if I'd have any teammates, maybe like one or two that would have ran into, had something like that. But it's just wild to think about what that experience must be like. Actually, summer ball guys, I definitely play with summer ball guys who would have had something like that. They're nuts.
Where would you attach your name, image, or likeness to if you were in college?
Oh, geez,
back in Northwestern, is there a local company there? One of your favorite Chicago style deep dish pizza places?
I would have absolutely tried to get like a Lou Malnati's sponsorship. That would have been great if we could have gotten that. And then all the guys in the bullpen, like we could have had like during the game, we have a Lou Malnati's pizza, and then maybe Big Ten Network, they pan to us. It's like, are those guys eating Lou Malnati's out in the bullpen right now?
See, the real thing, I think that's all like a missed opportunity if they haven't already explored that. It's through the catcher. The deep dish pizza with the catcher, that just lends itself right there. The pitcher a little bit as well, but behind the dish, with the plate and all that sort of thing. I think that lends itself a little bit. I mean,
we had a third string catcher. He could have been, and he was our bullpen guy pretty much. You could have done it with him. Oh my God, Wes. See, this is why we come up with ideas all the time.
Marketing, baby, marketing like this all the time. Someone's paying attention to this. They're going to steal this idea for sure.
Someone is. You're welcome, everybody.
From socks to NIL marketing there. That's a nice A-B conversation, but
brilliant.
We got a lot of stuff to get to in trending now here. So let's see. Let's get over here.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
I found this on Disney Plus, Nick. It's the Secret Invasion trailer, which is the series is going to debut on Disney Plus June 21st. But this is all Nick Fury here, and this looks I say good? Am I getting crazy here? Am I overstepping boundaries?
No, I don't think you are at all. I will say that when this first got announced, like just the name of it, I was like, okay, this is interesting, but I
had no interest.
Right. I was like over the moon about it. But then as we started to get more and more, it seemed like, okay, this is going to have more of a Winter Soldier sort of feel to it.
I hope so. And that's like whenever we refer to something that we like or that we want to be more, something grittier, that's the immediate comparison. And I love that. I'm here for because that's also what I thought of as well. Immediate kind of Winter Soldier, gritty, political spy thriller sort of thing.
Yes.
I think there's like an opportunity for a ton of Easter eggs. If they're working with what's the SHIELD government agency? Not the SHIELD one, but it's like the Department of Defense or something like that.
I'm drawing a blank on that right now.
But yeah, it's where the guy, I think it was one of the racist officer guys in Miss Marvel was from that group.
In Miss Marvel, I'm honestly drawing a blank on your watch right now.
Okay.
I almost drew a blank on the Skrulls because that's where I thought you were going for a second there. But
because I think it's going to involve some government as well as the Skrulls, obviously. But I think it's going to involve some government stuff as well. So, and I think that the department I'm thinking of, it's like they clean up everything. It's not just the stuff from Spider-Man: Homecoming that got the Vulture out of the job.
I'm trying to find it right now. So,
but I think they're going to be snatching up government secrets. Maybe this was also the company. Oh, Sword. Maybe that's it. Sword.
Maybe. Either way, moving on. Like
Sword was in WandaVision with the other guy who was working on Vision. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I'm all over the place, but more government agencies. So I think that could lead to maybe sneaky Easter eggs that they know information of oh, we have a read on this guy out here, or we found this artifact from this war battle site, something like that. So I think that could be kind of cool. And damage control, is that it?
I don't know. I'm telling. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I cannot help.
Someone's got to let me know here because that's really bugging me now.
But when it comes to what we do know with this, or at least what we've seen so far, the big thing that jumps out to me is Nick Fury. Yeah, he's a character who is, that connective tissue, and in the comics is a similar way, and he's interesting and everything like that. But never someone I really cared about. I was never I've never read Nick Fury comics. I never really had that desire. Although there is one series I think Garth Ennis wrote years ago that sounds like it's worth checking out. But anyways. With this, he's been away for a while. I'd like to know what's going on with him. There's a lot of question marks surrounding him and how much he's been involved, where he has and hasn't been involved. So I personally think it's really interesting how they've done it again with a character who, generally speaking, before the MCU didn't really care a whole hell lot about. Now it's I'm invested. I do want to know what's going on with him and how he's going to kind of try to set shit straight in the MCU as best he can.
Yeah, and I think maybe from a like more like meta perspective here, having a familiar character from the
Mm,
original Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3 Avengers Infinity Saga set may do something to kind of like, I don't know, maybe win back people. Maybe that's not the right term there, but
no, I think that's fair.
we've talked about Marvel fatigue. I've certainly suffered from it. And it's maybe with the introduction of all these new heroes that I'm not necessarily familiar with or don't have that same childhood connection to. So I think
Mm,
for if it's me and if that group is a bigger group, maybe there's going to be more eyeballs tuning in to something
mhm.
that's going to be like again something more familiar with more connection to the characters that they love from the Infinity Saga, as
Yep.
well as just the time that's been between both of the last show. Miss Marvel was the last one, right? And now is almost like 6 months,
Yeah. Yeah.
5 months. It's a good amount of time. So I think that'll also help.
Yeah, it's been a bit. And the other thing too with this is that just to go back to what you harped on right off the rip, like it's not just the character that's familiar and part of phase one and everything like that, but the tone of this. Like this, like
Hmm.
right away, I'm like this espionage. And we kind of had heard about that before the trailer, like that had been announced I feel like a while back. But
Yep.
to see it, it's like this feels very much like a spy movie, never mind a show. And I know Marvel's, pretty awesome about that when it comes to their CGI and everything. I know there have been some hiccups along the way, but they still are able to do that by and large. So the feel that this has to it, and then again, you're bringing in characters that are familiar from early on in the MCU. This just right now, like going in, this has. I just feel like I can understand why a lot of people would feel good about this going in, and I'm definitely in that camp.
Yep. I'm be looking forward to it as well. So June 21st. That's
Mm.
going to be coming out on Disney Plus. Moving right along here.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Found this in a theater near you very soon, Nick. The Blue Beetle trailer hitting a theater. I guess not that soon. August 18th.
Mm.
We got our first look at the Blue Beetle. What'd you think of this DC Ant-Man version?
So I looked at this and going in, and it's like, okay, like I want to give it a chance. Blue Beetle is not a character that I read about a ton in the comics. You have there's two different Blue Beetles, and one's like more like rich billionaire, one's more the character that we see here, who's a kid who gets the opportunity and then turns into the Blue Beetle. Either way, I'm like, whoever you bring in, I'm just I'll give it a shot, but I'm not really like crazy over the moon about it. This trailer was awesome. Like this was one of the best. Like I know that Flash had a really good trailer and everything too, but
Mhm.
I watched this with just kind of I guess like it was like a blank canvas. Like win me over here. Like you have the
Right.
chance to win me over, and
Yep.
they absolutely did that. I was blown away by this trailer. The action on it looks great, and then just the way we see him get the suit and everything was like this is not normal. Like obviously when kids,
Yeah, it looks kind of painful. It looks like
Yes.
it's kind of like eating him and burning him alive.
that's exactly it. Yeah, like so many times you see where kids get powers. It's like, oh hey, this is awesome, this is fun. Like how do I do this? Like Shazam is a great example of that. But
Mhm.
here it's like, no, this is pretty dark. This is pretty messed up, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, but it has a very cool color palette. So to kind of
Yeah.
make those dark moments a little bit more palatable. It's a PG-13 movie, so it's going to be painting with a wide brush here to try to get a big audience. So, but I really like that stylized kind of like Miami Vice color palette that they had there. It was a lot
Mhm.
of like light electric type colors. You can see that reflected in his suit. And when they showed the first look at his suit, I think it was like last week or something.
Mm.
It looked weird because it was just him on set, just around a bunch of normal people. So,
Mm.
but when you see it in the context again of that like kind of CGI'd up color palette of a set,
Yeah.
it looks really cool on screen in comparison with everything else. So I
Agreed.
went in with this with you, like you, Nick, like just win me over. Let's see what we got. This looks much more interesting than Shazam Fury of the Gods.
Mhm.
I'd be much more willing to see this in theaters over that,
Mhm.
which actually I think Shazam 2 was going to be going on video demand soon. They're just
Already?
going right out of theaters and putting it right on video on demand. So I don't know.
Wow, because it's only been what 2 weeks now, I think.
Yeah, but it's not a
3?
bad strategy. If people aren't watching it, put it on Amazon for $5 and then maybe then people will
Yeah,
watch it.
I'm
Like,
mhm.
I can see that.
Yeah, definitely more inclined to do that. But yeah, I agree. Like, well, it is a shame what happened there because obviously Shazam was like the first one was a good movie. we'll see. You and I are gonna watch it, when it comes out.
Sure, yeah,
for
yeah,
home.
yeah.
But I'll tell you what, Jamie Reyes, excuse me. This character like has a chance to be like the next like surprise, like for young fans.
Yeah, and I wonder if this is like a tryout because I can't recall if James Gunn said anything really like other than like a sentence or two about Blue Beetle so like I wonder if this like does well if they like work them into the fold somehow.
Yeah, and James Gunn too, like to that end with Guardians of the Galaxy, right? What we saw with him is like the first two movies weren't like chronologically, things were not all done in Marvel technically by order of release. Like I think the first Guardians movie,
yeah, I know what you mean.
So he could easily go and try and justify that with Blue Beetle here, especially if it's just like contained to wherever Jamie Reyes is from. I don't actually know where the character's from.
Yeah, it's like Palermo City or something like that. So I think it's like Miami.
Okay, so there you go. So you can make that work. I don't know of any other heroes from DC in Miami.
Yeah. So we'll see. And they reference Batman. They call Batman a fascist at the end of it. There. So which Batman? I get that could be a number of Batman at this point. So they're kind of covering their bases. They're like, hey, we're connected, but we're not going to show you who yet.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We're supposed to be getting As a Crow Flies tomorrow, Tuesday, or today, depending on how you listen to this here. The second trailer for Across the Universe or Across the Spider-Verse here. So we got the first one already. This movie comes out June 2nd. I don't really need much more of this, but I'll watch it.
Yeah, of course. In fairness though, I will say of course, but there are definitely times where like I don't want to see any more trailers, and I feel like I've done that with a couple things. I know we have to talk about them on the show, but I try to not watch because like I'm excited for this, and my expectations are going to be high no matter what going into this.
Yeah, watch this movie. Yeah, I don't need a trailer to get me excited about it. I'm in either way here. Speaking of not getting a trailer, we got kind of some promotion. We were just talking about this before we hit the air. Dave season 3 starts this week on April 6th on Hulu, FXX. We watched both season 1 and 2. We may have done an episode or definitely talked about it on the podcast, if not an episode there. Yeah. But are you excited for that? And are you going to be watching with the missus?
I will be. I mean, I know she likes the show. It is an interesting experience for me. And there are definitely shows that I do that with where it's like I'm not necessarily as comfortable or it's not necessarily my thing. But with Dave, like it's just it gets so outrageous at times. Like it really does. And you know how I can be like
the milking table in the garage in season 1.
It's a lot at times. And, I feel like though I came around on it a little bit more. I do like Gata a lot too. But I feel like, has it been 2 years since the last season? Am I crazy?
It's been a while. I don't think it's been that long. I think it may be something. I feel like the last season came out at some point in the pandemic. So
yeah. Okay. That does sound right.
That's in the time vortex known as the pandemic period.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm in season 2. I was down on. I thought Dave was a big dickhead. To be quite frank about it, very unlikable. And then it came around, obviously, at the end with the VMA performance with Gata there, and you get that great song, which I still listen to in the gym from time to time. I'll throw on YouTube and play that song while I'm doing some reps there real quick. So that's a great song there. So if they get back to more of the music stuff, he's going on tour. So hopefully it gets more of like the gang back together again type of thing.
Yeah, I will say that. So I just found it real quick. Episode 131 was when we did Dave.
Oh, we did do a whole episode of it. Okay, episode 131. I love that, Nick. Great researching skills.
Oh, thank you very much. But I will say, like, now that's ringing a bell, like that he was a dick, and so I kind of always felt like he was a dick. That was the other thing where you and I differ.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a dick, but he was a likable dick in season 1 because it was like on the come up, and now like he thought he was the shit, so there was like an air of arrogance to him. And there's nothing worse than like. Maybe this is the pot calling the kettle black here, but someone who's arrogant who doesn't need to be,
I wasn't gonna go there at all.
No, this is
That's
just some
amazing.
self-reflection. This
Wow.
is therapeutic for all of us.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say when it comes to your analysis, other than talking about yourself, I would say you're not wrong. When it comes to your analysis, I would say you're spot on. But
There
no,
we
I'm
go.
kidding.
Oh, that's sweet of you to say.
But I think I said analysis twice. I meant analogy in one of those. But whatever, I blacked out. What else do we got for trending?
We got the Mandalorian season 3 check-in, Nick. What's going on? Anything cool? Anything developing there?
I'll tell you what, a lot of awesome Mando action last episode. And again, like I've really enjoyed the show. There was one episode that was like a hiccup, and it's a pretty bad hiccup, just like a waste of time. But still, we've moved past that. And there was like a thing that was kind of developing in the background with a villain from previous seasons. We kind of see some of that come to fruition, but then there's a larger twist involving the Mandalorian. So I'm sure people have talked about it already, but I just thought like that was a nice little surprise there because we all knew this character was going to be back in the mix at some point, but now it's like there's a little bit more going on just when we seemed like to be gaining some like positive momentum, I guess, with the Mandalorian. So some quality writing and again, like a lot of great action in this show.
All right, take a quick breather, wet your whistle, because right now we're doing Nick's comic book minute.
A superb choice.
Okay, so starting things off, we'll start with Image. So we got King Spawn issue 21 out this week from friend of the show, Sean Lewis. Then Vault, a company that I don't mention a lot on this show, but we do touch on quite a bit over on TLDR. The Nasty. Issue 1 is out this week. This is like a horror comedy story, kind of a commentary on like all like the grittier, like offbeat horror movies that came out like in the 80s. Then from Dark Horse, you got The Witcher, Ballad of Two Wolves, issue 4. The final issue of that is out this week. We actually just had the writer for this series on the show. You guys can go check that out at your convenience. We also have Where Monsters Lie, issue 3 out this week, a series that I've been really enjoying and we'll talk about on the show after the first arc. From DC, Poison Ivy, issue 11. This one has been outstanding. Talked about this on the show a while back. This was a limited series and got turned into an ongoing series. So that speaks a lot to the quality and, of course, the audience had. And then from Marvel to wrap things up, Ghost Rider 13, Rogue and Gambit issue 2, and then Wolverine issue 32. This week on TLDR, we'll be talking about all those as we do our April solicit.
Nice. A lot of stuff to look forward to there. Nice and tidy. I got the clock. I think you're under time there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
No, I wasn't timing you, but we'll say that you were, though.
Okay.
It was good nonetheless.
We're all just all over the place today, you and I. My goodness. Which is appropriate because we're about to go friggin' bananas with this shit.
Oh, yeah. We got our main topic here, which is, of course, the aptly titled Super Mario Brothers 1993 review. And that's, of course, we're doing this in honor of, or maybe in spite of, I don't know, depending on how you look at it, the upcoming animated Super Mario Brothers movie. I think that's just what it's called, right? I think it's the same thing.
I think it's Super Mario.
You all know what I'm talking about. Chris Pratt,
you're
Chris
right.
Pine, excuse me, Charlie Day, Anya Taylor-Joy.
Wait a second. So just like with Suicide Squad, the other one was The Suicide Squad. This is The Super Mario Brothers movie.
The is the defining feature there. So it still is bros.
Yep.
What I can't think of the word there. Shortened.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes. Appropriately.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
All
I
right.
like that there. Since I yet again did not put out a exit survey or poll on last week's debate, although some might say I won, I don't know. Some people told me that on the street, so I can't in good faith change the rules here. So Nick, you hit us with the synopsis. I'm stuck with the cast and crew once again.
You may have won it, but again, it's based on the poll. Regardless,
Yes.
just to echo what you're saying. But two Brooklyn plumbers, Mario and Luigi, must travel to another dimension to rescue a princess from the evil dictator King Koopa and stop him from taking over the world.
Yes, this is directed by Annabelle Jankel and Rocky Morton. You need two people to direct this piece of shit. Starring Bob Hoskins as Mario, John Leguizamo as Luigi, Dennis Hopper as King Koopa, Samantha Mathis as Daisy, Fisher Stevens as Iggy, Richard Edson as Spike, Fiona Shaw as Lena, and Mojo Nixon as Toad.
Mojo Nixon.
If you want to call him Toad.
Oh, we'll get to that. As for the box office and critics' reception, this pulled in 20.9 million domestic. Of course, this was 1993, including 8.5 million on its opening weekend. Received a 4.1 out of 10 on IMDb, 29-29 split on Roddy T's, and 3.6 out of 5 on Google reviews, which is actually kind of high for this, with 59% of Google users liking this movie. That's a high ass number, Wes. Where did you fall on this?
This was a $48 million budget. So if you think that's still good for 1993, this is, again, we get all the box office stuff from boxofficemojo.com. So hat tip to them on that. But yes, and this movie wasn't released internationally. So the worldwide and domestic, it's all the same thing.
Okay.
So at 48 million, that's tough. You know, you think 29 million and 93 is pretty good. Not in the movie making business.
No matter what, if you're not bringing back the money that you at least spent on this shit, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. But I mean, if they spent if it was an $8 million movie, then it was 20 million. They're like, yeah, okay, then you did a pretty decent job. But no, that's brutal.
And I believe the industry rule of thumb, not that I'm a man of the industry by any chance, but I've heard some people say this before, that it's like 2.5 or twice the budget, because when you're considering marketing and advertising, and then also the tickets get cut through obviously through the theaters and everything like that. They get a stake. So it's interesting how it all gets divvied up there.
Is it to turn a profit, you're saying that, or is that to break even, you mean?
To break even, because they put in all the money for the all the posters, the billboards, everything like that, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Commercials.
So this is a nightmare scenario. Then, so you made like 50%.
That's nowadays. I don't know if that was the case in 93.
Fair, but still brutal. Not even half of your.
Yeah, I think it was Avatar that needed to make like $2 billion to like be profitable. And it did. I mean, but that's crazy.
No, you're right. But it's just like, what are you doing at that point? But okay.
But yeah, let's get to the score on the tweet length review. So I gave this a 53 out of 100. I saw this as a youth here, and I hate to break it to young Wesley's heart, but because this was a childhood favorite of mine, but this movie is just hot garbage right now. There's not much redeemable nor rewatchable about this movie. So although we'll give the boot boosters some credit there. Did love those.
Okay. Well,
boots.
We're not in the same neighborhood. I don't know if we can say we're in the same town, but we're probably in the same county. We have a similar mind, at least. I flip-flop your score and gave this a 35 out of 100. I did not see this as a kid. I was 2 years old when this came out, so I'm sure it was very hard for me to find when I was older. My dad probably wanted no piece of this. It's so fucking bad. I mean, seriously, for me, the best part of this movie was being like, wow, John Leguizamo looks really young. And holy shit, is that Eddie Valiant from Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Because I've never seen him in anything else knowingly.
See, that I didn't realize. That didn't tip it off. Like, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is a movie that I haven't watched probably since I was in single digits in age, but I love it. And it had a huge imprint on me. So I didn't make that connection at all, but that's such a great call. Cause like, I'm watching this. I'm like, why is this movie tailored around John Leguizamo if they have like a relative stiff as Mario?
Yeah. I mean, I guess he was an up and comer, but it is an interesting choice to have him be the guy, but also you can't flip-flop them because of physical appearance, because obviously Luigi's supposed to be the skinny one and Mario's supposed to be the heavier one. But yeah, I couldn't. But when I saw this, I'm like, I've never seen this guy in another friggin' thing. This is absolutely. And I had watched Roger Rabbit within the last few months, I would say, because I got sick at some point, and I watched it when I was sick. Yeah, I mean, that movie, I still like that movie. So we
can talk about that movie if you want. That's fun. We should have just watched that, to be honest with you. But I will say, Bob Hoskins' credit, does look the part.
He does. Yes, they
does look the part.
He absolutely does. And like when it comes to Leguizamo, like he looks good. Like I've never seen him in something where he was like this young. I feel like the John Leguizamo I know is all like early aughts, and he's like starting to come back into stuff now because he's in that like crazy Santa movie that came out recently. He's in this new show, like where he's like he's old now.
Yeah,
but he's like really. This is 1993. Like I was like, Dude looks good.
It's kind of launched him, to be honest. He kind of went on a run at this. 1993, he gets like The Spawn and The Pest in the mid to late 90s. He's in a couple other movies, Romeo and Juliet, that one with Leonardo DiCaprio, like the street live action LA version.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm the biggest Leguizamo fan, but he looks good here.
No, he has a little come up there, though. He has a little shine. But now let's get to the difficult stuff, Nick. The exit survey itself. What was the most rewatchable scene from this movie?
Okay, like from a positive standpoint, like the Bob-omb stuff was kind of like funny because it's just like this little wind-up toy that everybody's losing their shit over. So it's like kind of funny. But like other than that, from like a sheer stupidity standpoint, that elevator dance scene was like when people talk about train wrecks, like you can't just pull, like you can't look away from this.
It's comparable to the Captain America elevator scene, right? As far as like, yeah, it's just top notch cinema.
Right on, Brad. Great call. I don't know how I didn't think of that. It is so dumb where he gets, for those who haven't seen it or haven't seen it in a long time, John Leguizamo decides like, oh, I'm going to get these big Goombas, which, by the way, mushrooms in the video games, but like lizard-headed dudes here.
Yeah.
I'm going to grab one of them from like their lower back and like start having them dance. We don't want them to see me, but I'm going to like grab them by their jacket or something and get them swinging side to side. And then he does it with a few of them and turns them so that way that him and Mario can make their escape. Somehow that, like, okay, how the fuck did you do that? Mario asked him, like, how did you know that would work? John Leguizamo, Luigi's answer, because everyone likes to dance.
Yeah, who doesn't? Unless they were in the town of Footloose, and then he would have been shit out of luck there. He would have been like, this is the end of the movie.
You know what? If Kevin Bacon was in this movie, you couldn't even had a movie. It would have just ended that quickly.
Yeah, he would have solved the whole. Yeah, he killed communism, right? Yeah, right there.
My God.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a memorable scene. I do like the Bob reference there because there are like very few Easter eggs that they chose to actually like lift from the video game. That was one of them. You get a Bullet Bill reference in there as well. One of the bullets at the end that they used to kind of like on the boots to kick one of the Koopas or something like that. So like that was loaded in there. So that was kind of cool. But again, not a whole lot lifted. The club scene was kind of fun. Anytime, I really loved Big Bertha. I got to find her name. She was a late addition to the movie. I should have grabbed that there. But she was nice in the club scene. You see Mario, this is going to come up later, motorboating her. Because he's like right at her bosom level.
Is this 1990? I'm trying to find her name for you. So I apologize, but yeah, that is certainly a memorable scene.
And when you talk about like one of the dumber things, when you have Mario and Luigi breaking out of the prison in the cop car. And like the cop car is kind of like a bumper car. It's all running on like an electric grid sort of thing. They drive off a cliff and it's just so bad. It's like a Mac and Me moment. If you've ever seen Conan O'Brien with Paul Rudd, it's like that type of moment there. And I thought I really enjoyed that. So that was an enjoyable moment for me. I'd watch that a couple times over.
Francesca P. Roberts, you were phenomenal. You stole the show. You might come up later. Okay. Well, I guess we're going to try and be positive here. What aged the best from this movie?
The mozzarella fungi. This is something I remember as a kid, and it's stuck with me here, and it's just it's present throughout the whole movie. Not the aspect of it being Daisy's father. That's really weird. Not here for that. And that like that weird blob, like it's like the bizarro version of the apple at Shea Stadium. It just kind of like comes down from the bottom.
Yeah.
That's really weird, but the fungi all over the city, I'm here for. They're two Italian guys. Of course, the mozzarella fungi is here to help them.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's how it works in every
the mutts. Trust the mutts. Have some faith in the mutts.
I only have one for you, Wes. It's Bob-omb. I that's the only thing I walked away. I was like, oh, this is good. Like I like it was like fun, like a little bit. Other than that, I was like, again, you saw this as a kid. I'm seeing this as a 31-year-old adult. So
again, this might be aging the best or the worst depending on where you stand. But Mario motorboarding Big Bertha, that got a LOL out of me. I guffawed.
When you're talking about like things like that age best worst, there's definitely something that like aged worse in that vein.
Is that going to come up? Or are you going to tell me? Or is it?
Sorry,
Yeah, okay.
sorry. Yes, that will come up later.
Awesome, great. I love the tease there, and this is a part of the reason why I kind of like the club scene. Was the song "Walk the Dinosaur" by George Clinton and the Goombas on the soundtrack. Very good song. I would listen to that to this day right now. So that might get worked into my playlist here.
Oh my.
The Boost Boots I mentioned, that was also, as well as the Fun Guy, one of the key things that was imprinted on me from this movie that I remembered. And also there's I know it's an alternate universe, but they're kind of playing with a hollow earth theory controlled by reptilians, which I'm kind of here for. I'm kind of here for that.
Oh, you are? Oh, I mean, look, okay, this is actually a perfect segue into what age the worst, because so while I can entertain that the way you're going about it, the way that they presented it, correct me if I misunderstood this, Wes, because this is under what age the worst for me. The meteor that took out the dinosaurs separated Earth into effectively two planets, and now they're in separate dimensions. That's how I understood it.
Yes, yeah, on two separate planes, but there's a portal, a Stargate maybe.
Right. But okay, so while I have the lizard people doing something with that, okay, I could get into that. This is extremely stupid.
With the multiverse, they were ahead of the time.
Oh no, yeah, because in the Earth's the meteor that took out the dinosaurs is what fucking did it. The writing in this is actually, I didn't put that in here. I do have that later on, but the writing for this movie is absolutely terrible. And how about when Luigi is chasing down Daisy to try and get her, when they've gone down the portal, he's like, Daisy, she's like, Luigi, Daisy, Luigi, what is this gonna do right now? I know this is the 90s and there's some writing that's behind the times, but holy crap, it was so bad.
Yeah, really, really bad. I would have been like to have been a fly on the wall in that writer's room and figure out why they chose the things that they did in the adventure or the avenues in which they chose to go down there.
I agree with you 100%.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pulling up the Wikipedia page here. The screenwriters envisioned Super Mario Brothers as a subversive comedy influenced by Ghostbusters, The Wizard of Oz, and the setting was inspired by the game Super Mario World, with elements drawn from fairy tales and contemporary American culture.
Okay. It didn't work.
Did not work.
Yeah.
It appeared on several lists of the worst films ever made, but it did develop a bit of a cult following. Cult classic. Wikipedia said it by definition. We're there.
God, remember that episode? You were so mad. So mad.
This remained the only live action film based on a Nintendo game property until Pokemon Detective Pikachu in 2019. So this was either so great or so bad that they just wanted it to live on its own for 93? What's that math there, Nick? 25 years?
What was the year you said?
93 to 2019?
Yeah.
27 years?
Something like that.
26 years? 26 years. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's bad. I mean, it totally makes sense. It's pretty brutal. But I still I will say I'm glad that I at least gave it a look in some capacity before this one. And this is the only time I would ever think to watch this. But
oh yeah, absolutely here. Now, okay, so you have what age the worst? Okay, we got your meteor, the whole Hollow Earth thing. That's good. I'm with you on that one, because if they had just gone full reptilian Hollow Earth, they were just sent back inside. I can live with that. That's cool.
Right. Now, before you go into yours, the one I wanted to make, I just want to make good on the tease real quick, because we do have another one that we share later on. But King Koopa, in general, awful. So that's Bowser. I remember hearing King Koopa as a kid, but I guess I forgot that they were supposed to be the same one. But this is Bowser, so that's just terrible. Alone, and I understand they don't have the benefit of CGI at this time. I get that, but this is just odd. Now, when the thing I was mentioning earlier, where you talked about Big Bertha, with King Koopa, he gets I know we see some scenes from a different time, and things can be that's not great, or it's kind of weird. Now, King Koopa gets real fucking weird. This is very uncomfortable for me when I was watching that.
Oh yeah, very, very weird. And the trapping of the women is weird. He says I will have Daisy, or I will use her later, to his henchmen. He's take her away. and I'll call for you when I need to
Yeah,
use her later.
good
And he
point.
like pauses on it, and it's like, ugh, I don't know.
That's a good point too. I was thinking specifically of the moment where he was like he had her in his like office or whatever, and was like talking about like you were a part dinosaur and all this. I mean, that's a whole other fucking thing. She's
Oh,
part
yeah.
dinosaur. Who signed off on this shit?
It's very weird. Yeah, the whole reptilian thing. Again, I get Bowser is what is he, a snapping turtle?
I guess kind of.
He's got a shell, right? He's got
got a shell.
He's some sort of a turtle.
Yeah, I mean, like it's not too far fetched in a way, but it's also like very poorly done and awful. And no, it's extremely far fetched. It was fucking terrible. What am I talking about? I have one other thing that is aged terribly from this, but I want to let you get into yours first.
Yeah, so live action in general, and maybe this is a question that we can get into in depth, and how this could have been done, and maybe an unanswerable questions in the next one. But live action just did not work, and I'm not sure if Super Mario Brothers can work in a live action format. But because it's so fantastical, I don't and like ridiculous, so if you try to make it like serious, I don't know. But Luigi going to extreme lengths for a chick he just met on the streets. He's kind of a pussy hound. He's after it.
I guess so.
He's horned up.
Yeah, or he's into half women, half dinosaurs too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Cooper, New York City. Didn't age the best. I'm not sure if I would want to be in that. That's like 1980s New York.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what's weird, I noticed this when I was watching it was when the worlds are transforming or like merging into one at the end of it, when they all show up on the Spagnelli's construction site, they show the World Trade Centers, and it shows it kind of phasing in and out, and the Trade Center towers are dropping. I swear to God, wow. I had to go. I turned it back and like rewind it and like watched it again. And you can see a cop and a lady right before that are pointing up to it, and then you see the World Trade Centers, and then they're standing upright. It's 1993, and then it phases in and out, and it looks like they're falling down. And I'm telling you, it's creepy. You got to look it up. It's like very late in the movie, but that obviously doesn't age very well at all. Toad, on a lighter note.
That's the other one I had.
What's going on with Toad?
Dude, seriously. Like, I understand that there's live action, you don't have CGI and all this different stuff that's going on, but who the fuck thought that was a good idea? Especially with the hair, man.
Well, even so like what? So he's a mushroom. So like why make him into the reptilian after? And then you got the harmonica on him, which is the only way to identify him among the other Goombas. But even before, like, again, yeah, the haircut is outrageous. He's a literally target. He's a pinhead.
Yeah, I didn't. It's such a. I don't get it. Like it's just
like a target for birds to shit on your head.
It's one of those things that it's just like, again, that's what's kind of fascinating about this movie that I will grant it, is there are so many things that when I look at this, it's like, I just need to know how you got here. What made you decide on this? Why was X a good idea? How about Y? Because there's got to be like at least 15 things as we're watching this. Never mind like any of the lines, just different things that they did throughout the movie. And it's just, how did you get here? I just need to know how the writers' minds work for this, or the directors, whoever made these decisions.
Now, as bad as everything looks, maybe this is something that would have aged the best here. But I would give credit to the prop and set designer crew, because there's a lot of practical effects here, and like the whole set design of New York City is like pretty elaborate, even though it's like hot garbage. It's pretty detailed.
I think for the times that we're dealing with here, I definitely had a moment where it's like, oh, this does kind of have that feel of like, stuff that we liked as a kid, and the poor, like for now, the poor setting and everything like that, mm-hmm. The scenery and everything. But back then it's like, this is exactly what we want. It just, I don't think it fits for all this shit.
Yeah, it doesn't work all that well. What was up with President Koopa being obsessed with mud?
Dude. That was the line.
A weird choice.
You know what I love about mud, Wes?
Yeah.
It's clean and dirty at the same time.
It is. That's a good point. It's a good point. That's why pigs are clean, but they hang out in mud, right? Isn't that what they say?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
My cat's meowing over it. I'm trying to get her out of the room. I apologize.
this
Threw me
leads
off.
to a good unanswerable question segment here. You have why, just why?
Yeah, like seriously, that's kind of what I was getting at before with all this. Just everything that we're watching it throughout all of it. It's just, why is Daisy half dinosaur? Why did we go with Daisy instead of Peach? I got no problem with Daisy, but like, you're gonna go and do a Mario movie out of nowhere and you're not gonna use Princess Peach. That seems like an odd move. Like you said, why is Luigi gonna be the driving force in this movie?
Mhm.
You know, and then I mean, like, why is Bowser just a dude? Why do the Goombas, why are they not like the mushrooms like they normally are? One, why are they like the fucking why are they like reptiles with tiny heads and huge ass bodies?
Makes no sense, and they're like 10 feet tall too. You know, because or maybe Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo are just a couple of shorties too. But when they're in the elevator with them, I mean, they come up to like maybe
Yeah.
they're mid back.
Yeah, it's that was that may have been the weirdest thing in all this. Now, I want to make sure I'm not misremembering this too, because obviously if they were calling them Koopas, then it makes sense. But they were calling them Goombas, right?
Goombas, yeah.
Okay, so that's just like that's a careless mistake, because you
Well, and
call
all this stuff too, like you said, calling it President Koopa or King Koopa instead of Bowser and Daisy instead of Peach and all this, it makes me wonder like how much involvement Nintendo actually had on this, or did they just like sign away the licensing, like, hey, do something with this, and like these people had no idea what they were doing.
yeah, and it's just like a total like whoever again like whoever made these decisions. I'm blaming the writers a lot and the director too, but like directors actually, as we've found out, but it could have been higher ups. It's just so many poor decisions, but like that, and lazy ones like this Goomba Koopa one. It didn't actually hit me until right now. I'm like, wait a second. If it was Koopas, then at least it makes sense why they're reptiles, but it's still poorly done. But no, you called them Goombas when they're clearly supposed to be the Koopas.
That's why it confused me with the Goombas supposed to be called the Koopas and Bowser being called King Koopa. And that's what I was like, what's happening here? And then you have a blonde who's like kind of wearing pink, right? Throughout this movie, right? Or some form of like pink, and she's Daisy, who's a
100%.
like a brunette or a redhead.
She is a brunette. I don't
Very,
get
very
it.
weird. Yeah.
I don't. It's so again, like that's why I say why, because you can say that about so many things in this movie.
Well, so we brought this up. Can this be done in a live action movie? And you also have the question here: could CGI have helped make this a decent movie? I think if they were going for like the futuristic steampunk kind of postmodern type of take on this, and again, if like Wizard of Oz and Ghostbusters are kind of like your inspiration here, I think you go like Scanner Darkly type, like with the animation, go very weird, very trippy, like maybe like Johnny Depp, or Johnny Depp, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, like that type of like weird take on it, where it's very trippy, where these guys are like on acid, like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Wow, can't talk right now, but something along those lines that get incorporated into this like dream state type of world.
Yeah, that's
kind of what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like what people talk about the theme of what Mario is.
Yeah, I think with Mario,
he's taking mushrooms and he's saving princesses and
right. Yeah, and I think that'll be a fun way to go about it. And for live action, that could work. You don't need to do it for animation, obviously, but for live action, that could work. Honestly, so with this movie specifically, I don't think it would have made a difference. I don't think CGI would have helped it. I think we all are pretty good about understanding. Like, it was 1993. You don't have access to stuff that you had even in 2000. Never mind what we have now. But the writing on this is just so bad, and there's so many, and there's like stuff that I'm like, watch it, it's like, this is dumb. But as we're going through, it's like, no, that's just dumb. There's like a lot of careless shit that's done in this movie. But I do think, yeah, you could make live action, but you just have to get weird with it. It's just a matter of how many people are going to actually be interested in that kind of a Mario movie. So maybe it could be done interestingly, but I think animation is, you said it before, animation is where it is best.
If you were to be a tradesman, what trade would you choose?
Oh, I saw that. This is like the first thing I saw in your notes, and I didn't think about it afterwards. I have thought about. I don't know why I thought about like carpentry in the past, because I've thought about like actually when I was in middle school I thought about going to Diamond in Fall
Sure.
River, because that would have been the one I would go to, and I never did, obviously, but I just I did think about like learning that kind of stuff, because it could be valuable, even if you don't go into like a trade and stuff. But yeah, I guess carpentry.
Like,
Carpentry?
so I think like finished carpentry is the belle of the ball. You're like the jock of the campus.
Oh.
Finished carpentry is the cock of the walk, from what I understand. They're putting in the wainscoting on the walls. They're putting in the crown molding. Maybe they're putting in the cabinets, all that type of stuff, all the nice stuff. Putting the finishing touches on the staircase or your railings and that sort of thing. Like all the detail work in the house. Like finished carpentry would be. They come in swinging a big dick, from what I understand.
It'd be just nice to have that, I mean, like just now in daily like now I'm in an apartment, but when I purchase a house, I would like, that way I don't need to ask somebody for that kind of stuff. You save money that way and just spend money on the supplies.
Yeah, it would be electrician. I would probably want to be an electrician for that, because that's something I know nothing about. And I think that right there would save me a lot of money, being able to like wire shit. And then like, again, I always think like, if the world were to end, how would I be able to like, I got solar panels on my roof here. Would I be able to use those somehow? And then like, I wouldn't even be able to know what to make left of right of up there, no idea. But like stuff around the house, like fixing some things up, I can YouTube that. I can search some of those things that are a little bit more easier for me to conceptualize, like in my head.
Sure. Yeah, there's YouTube is an amazing place. It really is.
I love it.
There's like for fixing stuff. There's no place better. I will say, like honestly, if YouTube was like, oh, you need to have a subscription in order to watch anything, like period, I would do it probably just to have those like in my back pocket whenever I need them.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. That's that's my whole summer plan here. And also landscaping. I think if I was a landscaper, like that would be good work. That'd be good, honest work there. I would like that.
I just think that okay. I guess I just look at it as like, well, like the tougher things, like because you cut your grass and you could like plant baby grass if you needed to and stuff.
But
like that.
if I had a business, like you said, if you went to like a tech school or something like that, like landscaping, like I could see myself getting into that sort of business. Or you have your own landscaping business. You go into high end. You go to school, go to golf course management or something along those lines.
Hey, you and I have seen some people manage golf courses very well.
We're talking about the whale.
Yeah, that was like one
the
of the
city of New Bedford. Beautiful.
That still might be the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen on a golf course.
Yeah, that was great times. That's good stuff there. Yeah, the timing and the management of that, right? And what was he in, like a Daniel Gibson Cleveland Cavaliers jersey?
I think it was Rasheed Wallace Portland Trailblazers.
Oh, geez. Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good either way. Yeah.
That's a big pull, though, Gibson. My God.
Last question here before we move on. Do you think they incorporate any Easter eggs from this movie into the upcoming animated movie out next week?
That would be amazing. I think, and that's like the biggest thing for me. Like, having watched this, if they can put like one tiny thing in here, even if it's like a throwaway line, that would be great. But I think
because that's what this movie's kind of build on it, right? Because it's like we're going to get stuff from Super Smash Brothers and stuff from Donkey Kong and stuff from Mario Kart and Mario Party, from all these different iterations of the Mario worlds. This would be kind of a nice homage, and again, kind of like self-aware, kind of like a wink to an audience sort of thing. So that'd be funny.
That would be funny. So if I was to put odds on it, just even odds, like yes, no, like which way are you going?
I would go with, unfortunately, if I had to put my money on it, I would say no.
I would too. Yeah, I want it, but
yeah, I would will it to happen. Yeah. Who had the best performance by a side character, and why was it Big Bertha?
You like Big Bertha, apparently.
Oh, she was a tour de force. She came in and just owned the whole scene, owned the club. People moved out of her way, or she made a move.
There you go. I mean, I guess you've made the case. I mean, Bob Baum is my guy, clearly, in this movie. I've talked about him numerous amount of times already. So,
well, we got to mention Iggy and Spike, who are the bumbling duo, right? Which is necessary in any movie. There, you need to have a bumbling kind of duo who is like, kind of bad, but kind of just dumb and like looking for someone to follow, looking for strong leadership. Maybe they switch sides at the end like they do here. I believe they were spies, right? And they go from being dumb to really smart and educated because of that cool machine that King Koopa has. But they were kind of fun. I didn't mind them. I didn't hate them. They were a nice comedic performance, very necessary in a bad 90s movie like this.
Yes,
they do a good job of it.
That's when you said like that you always need bumbling idiots. It's like, yes, you need it in every 90s movie, of course.
Yeah.
Where you need
Right.
it. I also, as you started saying that, I'm like, you need it in every podcast group. And I was like, who are the Iggy Spike of the DSG? But I don't want to start fights today.
I was going to say, if you can't identify it, then it's probably us. Yeah, that's the pot calling the kettle black there, right?
Yep, we did it again.
Yeah.
We were made for each other, Wes.
That's it.
All right, who lost the movie?
Yeah, I think we're in an agreement here, whether it's the writers or the directors. I think
Yes.
the creative leadership of this movie, the creative direction of this movie, whoever was ahead of that ship, did not do a good job of it. This might be a maybe this is a great homage again. Maybe because people say that Mario is like a drug psychedelic landscape. Maybe this movie, all the writers were just deeply on drugs on this, and they're like, we just got to get this out of here. Just like hung up in a writer's room for 48 hours with nothing but coffee and cocaine and cigarettes, and they're like, let's get this out of here. Let's go. We got something to do.
Right.
And that's what came out of it.
That. I mean, that would explain why John Leguizamo every 5 minutes when Bob Hoskins is asking him, like, how do you know? I just know. I just know.
You got faith.
Yeah. Cool.
Trust the fun guy.
Like,
Trust the mozzarella.
Yeah.
Never let us down.
It's so bad. But yeah, I'm with you. Like is it the producers, is it the directors, is it the writers, whoever was like the decision maker, like whether they put together the team or they were overseeing a lot of different stuff, like whoever that person was is the ultimate loser. I gotta imagine that they didn't have a gig for a while longer after this, because this is so bad. But again, the writers, as we go along more and more, Wes, I don't know if the director made changes. Of course, that happens with scripts and stuff, but some of this shit, as we look at it more and dissect it, we're not talking about like, oh, we're nitpicking stuff, because we see that with YouTubers and stuff like that, where they're like, oh, but they got this wrong and that wrong. This is tiny shit. No, we're like, that's the Goomba Koopa thing. That's a terrible fuck up. Yeah,
that's big.
That's a careless mistake, and some of this other stuff too. The dialogue is. We didn't talk
again,
about
and it's so close to being like a Goomba and a Koopa. It's like so close to it that it almost makes me feel like they didn't have the rights to use it, which would be weird because like Nintendo signed off in this movie. So it's like it's almost like a Chinese knockoff of it. They're so close to it, but there's a couple stitches that are off.
Well, but you even say King Koopa, so it's like there's no way they ran into the problem. It's and that was another too. Like King Koopa, like Bowser's known as King Koopa, like that is a thing, but like. Why couldn't you just go with Bowser? Like, that would have made more sense at least. I mean, but whatever. So yeah, a lot of losers in this.
I don't know, but were there any winners, Nick?
Reebok. Reebok won this movie. Yeah.
Did I only see because of the bomb? Was that the only reason why? Okay.
Yes, that's it. Yes, I needed to have one more bomb thing. I saw that. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I forget what I was watching the other day, but it was there was something that was just like clear product placement. It was like it was Coke. I can't remember what it was. I was like, okay, but this was like so ridiculous and just like not even trying to be subtle about it. It's like, you know what? Okay, and it's Bob too, so I was all here for it.
I love it because it was like so in your face. Didn't even try to hide it, like square in the scene. It probably paid for like a couple of the salaries, just that product placement there, But it made me search afterwards. I was like, were there Super Mario Brother Reebok shoes? Because that would be kind of like a thing, like a promotional sneaker.
Yeah.
And now what I think they should do is release like the Boost Boot Super Mario Brother Reebok sneaker.
That'd be amazing.
Because that was the big takeaway, at least for me as a kid, was I thought those were the coolest things. So if they made like, because what did they do? What the Marty McFly Nikes? Like those type of things, like like that would be such a cool thing. So they should have done that for Mario, but that's a missed opportunity. Too late now.
Again, if you had us there, honestly, I would have been 2 years old, and what you would have been 6 then at that time. We probably would have been better.
I could have put that together. I could have come up with that. Give a little love for John Leguizamo.
Okay, I mean,
this is right before he goes on a little run. He kind of starts making a career for himself right after this.
Look, I will say that him and Hoskins, their acting wasn't the thing that bothered me most with this movie. It was definitely not. I don't think
No,
it
that
was
wasn't bad. And it was
top
like,
five.
you know, the brother, you know, the older brother who's straight laced trying to get the job done. And then John Leguizamo is like the lover boy free thinker who doesn't want to work and just kind of wants to like, you
Mhm.
know, have a good time and all about the experience more, right? But
Mm.
you know, like I would think in the movie, it would be like Mario is the leader, the gun ho guy, the one
Mm.
who's going to be running into trouble and everything like that. The first one, and that John Leguizamo is more like C-3PO. Like I always thought Luigi was kind of like a scared, nervous Nelly, a Neville Longbottom.
Again, you would think that, but now with the whole Koopa Goomba mix up that we have, and then of course, and then the Daisy stuff too. Why would you go with Daisy, and then why would you make her look like Princess Peach? It's just a lot of laziness went into this movie.
I know it was not
Yeah.
lazy. That final scene of Daisy coming in, when she like kicks the door open with the gun, she's like, "We
Yeah.
got problems," and she's like, "Terminator Daisy."
Yeah,
Yeah, that got me going.
Wait, we're talking about Wes today or Wes as a kid?
Well, you know, I'll leave that for the audience to describe,
Yeah,
to
I think
decide,
probably
or
best
describe.
both. We're all.
Yeah. But
Oh
John
man,
Leguizamo and Reebok, the real winners of this movie here
Mm.
the Super Mario Brothers 19. Wait, excuse me, take two. That is the final exit survey for Super Mario Brothers, the 1993 movie. I had to remove the from
Mm.
there just to make sure there's a delineation there. Nick gave that a 35. I gave it a 53. Quick math on that, Nick, is a 88, so 44.
Yep. So
Wow,
same
good math.
grade that you gave Mortal Kombat Scorpion's Revenge.
So is this might be our lowest graded movie to date then?
I think so. Yeah, lowest graded anything. Period. I don't think we have a show lower than this either.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, well there we go. That's a first for the CMM podcast. Super Mario Brothers 1993, a 44 out of 100 here. So very cool things. But ladies and gentlemen, the train is about to leave the station. So pack your bags, grab your kids, grab your drinks and your snacks, find your seat because the train is leaving the station of the Discharge Depot.
Choo-choo, bitches.
All right, Nick, what'd you do? What'd you watch this weekend?
Before I go any further, Wes, I do want to note that Ghost Rider was another like bad rewatch that we did.
Yep.
I gave that a 40. You gave it a 47. So just a tick worse than Super Mario Brothers, which honestly,
Oh wow.
that's not the case. Like, but
Yeah,
yeah.
Nick Cage we should put more respect on Nick Cage's name like that. But if we go back and if we ever want to do an edit, you know, we are editors by trade here. So maybe we can come back and make a fixing on it. I don't know.
Or we could rewatch the second Ghost Rider, which is even fucking worse than the original.
Spirit of Vengeance. I have been feeling quite vengeful recently, Nick. So
Oh.
I'm here for it.
Okay. As for me, I feel like I started watching, I think it's Swarm, started watching The Powers, two new shows that came out recently, like solid first episodes, but like the Swarm was a little like it was different, like very artsy. So I don't know how I feel about those yet. I'm gonna watch the second episode. The Powers, which is on Amazon Prime, like it's solid, but it's kind of slow. Actually, John Leguizamo is in that one.
There we go.
Much more serious role for him, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing I've been continuing watching along with like BoJack Horseman, which obviously I was behind everybody on, is Star Wars Rebels, and I think I'm into the third season now, where things kind of are starting to get a little bit darker with the characters. And just for anybody who hasn't watched Star Wars Rebels, but watched the Clone Wars, kind of liked it. I'm sure you guys have heard it from, I don't know if it's Dork or Mac and Goo that said this, but Star Wars Rebels is a little bit like feels a little bit more for kids in some ways at first. The stories are always pretty good though. If you power through that like kiddie-ish more vibe through the first like few episodes of the first season, it really takes off. And again, the storytelling is always good, but man, it really, really starts to pick up in the characters that are thrown into the mix. Ahsoka's in the mix. Darth Maul is in the mix at some point. And
is our Caribbean island resort friend Bo-Katan?
Bo-Katan,
She in it?
I have not seen her. when you went to Caribbean, I'm like, who the fuck are you talking about?
Bo-Katan, yeah, right next to Boca Raton. That's usually where I stay.
Of course. She is. I've not seen her yet in it, but she might be. But Ahsoka's fucking awesome in the show. And there's plenty of other cool characters too, including the main cast. So definitely worth investing the time in if you and the 20-minute episodes a piece. So really easy, just film whatever on a night. Just want to watch
burn them through them. Yeah.
There you go. What have you been watching?
I watched I See You on Netflix. This was one of like the top trending movies over the weekend on Netflix there. So it was who was in it? I'm not sure if anyone really famous was in it now that I think about it, but it's just like a decent like horror thriller type movie. Kind of gives me vibes of Funny People. If you've ever seen that movie, also kind of vibes of The Watcher. There's a home invasion, there's a murder in the town, something creepy is happening. There's a big twist at the end that I wasn't expecting. Yeah, so interesting type of stuff. It's an okay movie. It was a decent watch. I would say 75, 74, 73, somewhere around there.
So worth giving a look if you got nothing going on and can't really
yeah, it held my attention. It was it caught me by surprise.
I think I saw the trailer for this at some point, and Helen Hunt seems to be the only big name attached to this movie. So.
Oh my god, was that Helen Hunt?
Yeah,
the
Jackie.
Mom? Oh geez, yeah, bad. She was bad. Didn't recognize her. Should have though.
Oh, there you go.
Nope on Amazon Prime. Finally got around to watching the Jordan Peele film. So it was okay. It was all right though.
It was. I felt like there was some good stuff in it.
It was well directed. I thought it looked cool.
It did look cool. I'm also not an Alien fan, just in general.
And the idea of it that it was just like a big stingray, like no thanks.
That was.
I guess I just ruined it for everybody. But
you might have.
Yeah.
I will say I did like the Keke Palmer was probably my favorite part of that whole movie. But other than that,
I thought she was so annoying.
I loved her. She's ridiculous. But like I wasn't other than that, I just yeah.
It was a whole allegory for chasing your dreams.
For chasing your dreams, is it? I guess I didn't.
Yeah, getting eaten up by it because she's talking. At least that's how I interpret it. Like she's talking to Antlers, right? The director, and like the guy's she's trying to get him to direct the film and get the shot, and she's talking about how it's her big dream. And the whole movie, she's talking about how she's looking for something else, and he says, "Give up on your dreams." So and then you see it's like an allegory. So like the stingray is like sucking up and you get eaten up by your dreams. But if you don't look at it straight ahead and you just continue working, then you'll be okay.
Antlers was the crazy, the intense filmmaker. That's
yeah.
Oh, that was frustrating too, how the whole thing went down. That made sense a little bit, but
at least that, again, maybe I was just looking into it too much there.
No, hey, you appreciate it more than I do. Is just what it comes down to. I wasn't a huge fan,
but yeah, no, I wasn't. It wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking to be more like spooked.
Yeah, and again, I will happily chalk part of my whatever feeling about it is extraterrestrial stuff is not always my thing, and then this one in particular, it was freaky at times. Don't get me wrong, but just aliens they're not my thing in general.
No, and that's maybe that's
Star Wars.
Maybe you're just disappointed.
Yeah,
like everyone's always disappointed by aliens in real life. Like you think it's going to be like this huge disclosure, or you see this video and everyone's like never before seen footage, and it's all grainy and it's this tiny little. It's never as impressive as it really is. So maybe that's like the overall theme. Or again, maybe I'm looking into it too much.
No, that's actually I think that's a fair point, Wes, because so I know I was just going on about Star Wars and how I obviously I'm talking about a show that I like and everything, and I do like Star Wars. But whenever we've talked about with Marvel and them kind of trying to get more into the cosmos and everything, I'm always like, okay, obviously Guardians was really good, and I know Thor's kind of in that realm, and that's been good. But I'm always like, don't go too far with that with me, because that is the thing that I probably care about least. Just in when we're talking
that's
about
where your suspension of disbelief ends.
I guess so. It just doesn't. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
I like sci-fi in different ways, but not that sci-fi. I won't. Lauren's Star Trek fan. I won't watch Star Trek. I saw the movies, but they just don't do it for me.
Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah, Chris Pine can make anything good, as we saw with Dungeons and Dragons. That's getting good reviews.
Have you watched it yet?
No. I probably won't see it in theaters now. Yeah, now it's getting. I got to be more picky and choosy about when I go and leave now, you know, getting right up to it. But
yes,
what do we got brewing this week on the DSG?
Well, let's see. So Dork did a Ask Us Anything this week. So there you go, fun stuff there.
There we go.
That
Okay.
out. Mac and Goo did Air, which is the
the Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Phil Knight Nike shoe, Jordan shoe.
That whole thing. Yep, about Michael Jordan and everything like that. So are you going to see that?
Not in theaters. I definitely want to see it though. It looks great. I can't wait. And I'm a huge Ben Affleck fan. He's a great. Like, he doesn't really miss on anything he's directed, and he's found, you know, a really nice groove in this like back half of his career, second half of his career, and I'm all here for it. Like he's doing, like Mac just put in our group text commercial that he's doing with the Dunkin' commercials. Like that's awesome. Like lean into the meme. Like I heard him with Matt Damon on the Bill Simmons podcast, and again, like a lot of like what's the word? I don't know, just leaning into it. He seemed more like self-aware and just like more confident in himself now, not like more down to earth. Because he's a millionaire now. He's dating supermodels and A-list actresses and everything like that. But like he's somehow figured out how to still kind of feel like in touch with his Boston roots a little bit. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
No, I think that's a fair way to put it. And he's done, and you're right, as a director, he does tend to do a good job. I don't know. I might see it. I'll probably wait and see how everybody else kind of responds to it. It seems promising, but then for people for Communism podcast, I'm going out on a limb and assuming they're going to do a show this week.
I would have to imagine,
2 weeks straight. They did a WrestleMania preview last week. We just had WrestleMania. I would assume they're going to be doing something recapping that. TLDR, as I mentioned earlier, we have our April solicit this week. I've heard it both ways. Should be doing season 5, episode 15 of Psych this week. They're talking about Psych no matter what. So there you guys go.
Yeah, get psyched for it.
They should fucking say that in the show. I don't.
That's what people used to say to me. You know, like that was like, you know,
wow.
any youth sports team I was on. Like, get psyched. Are you psyched?
Oh my God. Oh, I am so sorry that happened to you.
Yeah, you know, it was that or, you know, white men can't jump jokes or something like that, you know, with Wesley Snipes.
Yep.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
That's wow. Okay. People always find ways to make jokes about people's names. You can figure out
one. Lose, yeah.
You can figure out some with mine real quick. Streaming. You can find Doc on Twitch at Backcracker, Shime at Shime Time, and then Dork does all their video game playing whenever they do it over on the #Dork YouTube page.
Next week we're going to be doing Super Mario Brothers, the Super Mario Brothers. Excuse me. Take 2. Next week we'll be doing the Super Mario Brothers exit survey, of course, starring Chris Pratt, Charlie Day, Anya Taylor-Joy, Jack Black. Who else am I missing? Anyone else? That feels good to you? All right, great. That should be fun. I'm really excited for that. So that we get to use all these same sounders from next week.
Oh yeah. Wow.
All that fun stuff. I might even get the coin up one. Who knows? I'm going to see if I can work that in at all.
Oh.
But nonetheless.
You got a lot of good ones in the hopper there. You barely use these today. It's better to save them for that episode.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we always got this good stuff. And as always, we'll be back at the same back time, same bat place.